take a lovely, soft breath deep into your being. And when you let it go, just give a quiet thank you. Some gratitude for being here, for being you, for having this opportunity today, for bringing this family together, this family of light, creating one breath, one full breath, followed by another soft, full breath, followed by another. Feeling the love that follows each breath into your body, into your spirit.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. For some time, we have been discussing something we have called the field. It's really a misnomer. It's a part of physics that was always there. My partners asked the question, was it always active? Is it possible that a part of physics that wants harmony and pushes for harmony and adjusts itself for harmony has always been that way? It's a funny question, for physics is supposed to be that which is always the same. It is a law of the way things work. However, what we have taught in the past is that there are modifiers of physics, and it can be shifted and changed. We have taught that one of the modifiers of physics is well known, and those who discuss it, who are quantum, are very aware of it. And that is the act of observation. If a human is able to observe a small, finite physics experiment, quite often it will change depending upon whether it is being observed or not. Therefore, you know already that consciousness will change the physics involved. Consciousness becomes a modifier of physics. Those who have developed that which is called heart math have gone the next step. On a global scale, they have measured and seen the results of the change of the magnetic field of the planet with mass consciousness shift. The correlation is there. It is science. It is measurable even by satellites. So if you start to put this together, dear ones, you're starting then to see what is it that is really different. And it's consciousness. The more the consciousness starts to change on this planet, the greater the field will work for you. You are starting to change the attributes of the field itself. It will become stronger as you do. The more light that is carried via compassion, unconditional love, unbiased attitudes, the more that happens, the more it will change. That is the definition of light, especially one, compassion. The planet is ripe and ready, and there is so much you see all over that is not compassionate, doesn't make sense, still filled with greed. And dear ones, these things will change gradually. Some of the institutions that are well known for it will simply morph and become different. And some of the things we have discussed in the past that are based upon dysfunction and greed and nonsense will fall over. And one of them is Big Pharma. We have said this before, and we say it again. It has to change. It is close to it. Closer than it was when we started speaking of it 15 years ago. These are the things that start to move because of consciousness and the field. And if you've just tuned into these things, dear ones, how does it make you feel? To know that there is an alliance between you and compassion and everything else on the planet. There are some in here who are invested in Gaia. You love the idea of going into the woods alone. Some of you will then sit the trunk of a tree and just lay back, meditate. And you'll start feeling a serenity that is something that you can almost taste. Some of you will see divas or lights. You'll be aware that there's a life force that nobody talks about beyond the trees or the dirt or the woods. You'll start to see and feel the system that is there, a system of harmony that always has been. There's no bias with Gaia. And that is what you're going to start to feel with yourself and other humans around you. A feeling that cannot be duplicated in any other way and has not occurred in any other time. That starts to defy any logic you would have. It's what eventually will bring those together who are not together now. There'll come a time, unbelievably, when even politics will get better. When one side will see the other, and instead of fighting, will look for the similarities. The same similarities as the field would create with harmony. Human consciousness has to change first. And it is. And the slowness of it is not your favorite thing. But dear ones, time goes by, and time goes by, and time goes by. And the years will turn into decades. And then you'll start seeing this very, very clearly from what was to what is. There was a time not too long ago where this planet was always ready to go to war. War was always the solution. And in you would go with all of the other countries. Once, twice, again, small, large. This was called human nature. You're going to see some things soon which shows what the earth wants and does not want anymore. A time where perhaps the majority of the population will literally raise their hand and say, no more of this. And there will be a holdout here and a holdout here or a holdout here who will be very, very sorry that they're a holdout. The peace on earth and the harmony between human beings is going to be something not only just accepted and desired, but it's going to be intuitively correct and expected instead of the reversed. It has already begun. It's a lot different than it was 100, 200 years ago. Human nature itself is starting to react to the field. Very slowly, but it's happening. Finally, there are still those who will say, how soon will it happen? And I will say it again. It depends upon the catalytic energy of change. And you will say, well, what does that mean in English? And I'll say, it means how much light does the old soul carry? What is your belief factor here? Are you part of this and you're watching it? Or are you part of this and you're working the puzzle? You cannot leave this room without asking yourself, what can I do? And I'll tell you, it's pretty easy. Compassionate action, the way you treat others, working on your reactions to anger. Did you know that the field creates harmony? And because of that, certain other things want to be harmonious. For instance, light and compassion are catchy. If you start practicing it, be aware, just like the examples that we have shown on the field before, that others can fall in line simply because you are there with your compassion. That's the answer to the puzzle. You. We'll be back. And so it is.